The ferry only came once a month. Its arrival always met with uneasy silence. Ashlin had lived on the island all her life, and though she pretended otherwise, she knew the rules as well as anyone. Every year, on the first night of autumn, the fog rolled in thicker, and someone vanished. No goodbyes, no warnings, just a cold absence, and afterward whispers that never quite faded. She remembered her father's disappearance 9 years ago. She'd watched him go down to the shore, shoes in hand, drawn by the distant clang of the bell that no one had dared admit existed. He didn't say where he was heading, but in her dreams, he was always at the water's edge, looking back with a face she couldn't quite remember. Now, the air tasted of salt and dread. The thick mist licked the cottages, dulling lantern light, and made every shadow lurch. Ashlin tried to ignore the unease, but she could feel the island itself watching, listening. The elderly neighbors kept to their homes, their curtains drawn too tightly, while the children, silent with inherited fear, played only in the center of the village, where the ground felt safer. That day, a black feather had appeared on her windowsill. Always it was a feather, or a pebble, balanced on the steps, or a ripple in the night air. The older residents called it the call. She tossed the feather into the hearth, but a second awaited her on the threshold at dusk. By nightfall, she heard the bell, a hollow clang that came from nowhere and everywhere. It thudded in her chest, urging her feet out the door, before her mind agreed to follow. Through a world of featureless gray, she wandered past empty houses, the fog billowing around her ankles, each footstep muffled and wrong. She saw shapes moving just out of reach, pale, watching eyes in impossible places. At the cliffs above the crashing surf, the bell faded to a hush. She sensed others behind her, shadows with half-remembered faces, as if the vanished had always remained on the edge of sight. Only now did she realize how many were missing, their presence a shudder in the weeds and wind. A voice not quite hers whispered a single word, chosen. She peered down the rock path, leading to a door set into the cliffside, a door she'd never seen, though she'd walked here countless times. Drawn by some logic older than her own, she placed her hand against the weather-worn wood. It opened without protest, darkness pooling at her feet. The passage inside breathed cold and deep, promising secrets and forgetting. Before she could think, she had stepped through. Behind her, the door swung shut, and the tide began to rise, hissing over footprints. In the village, the fog thinned. A new feather landed on a child's windowsill, blacker than the night, lighter than hope. The bell would ring again, and no one would dare speak of the voices echoing from beneath the cliffs, or the feeling that all the lost still waited just out of sight, longing for company.